Good morning. Hello. Anybody who wants to come watch. Welcome to anybody who's going to meet me live, or if you're checking this out on the replay. I'm just super glad to share this information with you today because this is one of my favorite things to do with people, especially clients, when I'm first meeting them, to help them understand what the needs are and kind of where they are in the process of meeting their needs. I like to consider myself kind of a curator of information, and my emphasis is on application. Like when I'm reading articles or I'm listening to people, lectures, audiobooks, whatever it is, podcasts, I really like to take the information and I will write it out or illustrate it for myself and complete the exercises for myself and really digest it with information that I've learned in the past. And one of the things that has been powerful is that when I was young, when I was in junior high, I actually started reading The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. And that then turned me on to people like Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins, and in the last probably 10 years, Dean Graziosi. And then, of course, later in life, people like Tina Fey and Amy Palmer have been some of my inspirations. So it's been kind of fun to, just learn along the way. And I think what's really powerful about the needs that I'm going to share with you today is that it applies to every single person in the world. It doesn't matter who you are, what culture you're from. These apply to every single person. And, part of what's interesting is as we're growing and developing, each of us is shaped by the experiences that we have and the emotions that go with those experiences. So a lot of them happen when we're children, right? When we're growing up and we're developing our brain, we're developing our mind, and we're just taking in information, but we're taking it in at a very unsophisticated level, right? Now we're adults, you're watching this video, but we still have the beliefs that were formed around our needs when we were really, really young. So it's interesting to evaluate them because each of us prioritize our needs differently, and it actually determines how we make our decisions by which need we prioritize first. So I kind of like to think of it like a GPS system. I use GPS a ton. And a lot of times you put in like where you're going, right? And then it says, well, where are you coming from? Do you want me to take your location now? Do you want to pick a different location? And a lot of times we're like, gosh, I wish, I could have my own business. I wish I made more money. I wish I had a family. I would really like to date somebody. We have all these things that we'd like to experience, but we don't really necessarily know where we are right now in getting our needs. So we have this like GPS that we're putting in, hey, we want to go here, but we don't really know where the starting point is. And so that's kind of what I want to help you evaluate today. And what's neat is that I grew up with parents who were teachers, so I am very much into doing exercises. So if you're watching this and you're really willing to kind of put yourself in this process, I encourage you to grab a piece of paper and a pen because I do want to have you write some things down. I actually have a handout. I'll put that in the description where you can get a link to download this exercise that I'm going to go over with you. But like I said, I really like to do this with my clients when I first meet with them because it helps us get a sense of where they are currently on the map before we figure out kind of where we're going to go and how those needs are getting met right now. So one of the things that we want to talk about, the first four they're more like personality needs. And they are something that we're always trying to meet every day. And the first one that I'm going to talk to you about, if you got your pen and paper out, I encourage you to write like a little plus sign. Yep, like that. And the first one that we're always trying to meet is certainty. Certainty. And certainty is the assurance that you can avoid pain and gain pleasure. What do I mean by that? It means that your certainty might come from your income. I know I'm going to have a paycheck. It could come from, I know I have a roof over my mouth, over my head. I have a car to drive. I can afford to put gas in my car. Certainty that there will be food on the table. So some of those are just basic needs that we want to get met, but sometimes they can also be certainty like, I know that I can depend on people. I know there are people in my life that I know if something were to happen, I can fall back on. There's a lot, I know several of you are aware that I've worked with the trauma intervention program, and one of the key factors that we talk about in that program is the perception of support. And just our perception of who supports us can give us a huge amount of resilience, even if we never tap into those people who we know could support us. Like I come from a really great college experience, and there are literally hundreds of people that I know I could tap into because we shared that experience, those alumni experiences. And I think, and I would certainly be there for anybody else who was part of that experience. So sometimes our perception of support is much broader than just who are the immediate people in my household or in my family. Excuse me. Yeah. So it's good to figure out where your level of certainty is. So one of the things that I would suggest is that you put your number, like where are you on a scale of 1 to 10 on how certain are things in your life? This last year with the pandemic, it's been pretty crazy with people. Some people have certainty. You have to stay home. Here's your job, and we need you to stay in this job, or we even need you more in this job. Other people have had variety. They've actually had uncertainty in the fact that they've lost jobs, or they've changed industries, changed what they're working on, and that can be scary. So where would you put yourself on a level of certainty in your life? And then go ahead and put the number up here. So say you're a 5. And then with that 5, I encourage you to add some notes, like what brings you to that certainty. And some examples could be my paycheck. I know I've got a regular paycheck and job security. Job security, it could be, and I'm looking up here because I keep examples from my clients. It could just be daily expectations. I know I have got a daily routine. And maybe it's low. Maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, 5 might be low for somebody because maybe the pandemic, maybe it's been a job situation or something where people have moved. I feel like I need to move. So now I'm actually feeling uncertain. That's making my number low. So possibility of moving. So take a minute, write down your ideas about where would your certainty be of that need. How is that need getting met in your life right now or not getting met in your life right now? And I'm going to keep going because it's a live video. So the next one is variety. And this has been a really interesting one during this last couple of years because a lot of people on one hand have had the variety of the unknown, right? We talk about, do you like surprises? And some people will go, well, yeah, I love surprises. Well, no, you don't. You love the surprises that you want. Surprises that we don't want, we call problems. And so it's interesting how variety this last year has been in more forced variety, things that we didn't necessarily want, stay home. Maybe somebody wanted to go to work, or variety like changing their jobs. And I have heard a lot of people getting down and a little bit depressed because they haven't had the variety of adventures, going to meet people, social gatherings, getting to go to restaurants, trying new restaurants, going on vacation, just the things that they've had to cut back on or find different ways to do has changed the level of variety. So when you understand that variety piece, where would you put yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 with variety? And let's say now it's a 7 because we're starting to go to, I'm going to put restaurants, and no mask feels good if you are vaccinated, and variety could be new recipes because I'm home more and I'm making more food. What else? Variety could just be traveling. I'm going to travel more. So you get the idea. So what is your level of variety? That's going to show how that need for you is being met. And then one of the other needs is that we all have is significance. So I didn't leave enough room. This is why you want the downloaded handout that I have. So significance. We all have this need for significance. And the significance piece is really about feeling unique, feeling important, feeling special or needed. And that can be in a title. You're a mom. That gives you a title. That is significant to be the mom. You're the dad. You're the husband. You're the wife. I'm an engineer. I'm a counselor. I'm an Olympic athlete. All of these are very significant titles. Significance can also be I'm the decision maker. You know, if you feel like you do or don't have that power, sometimes in a job, you'll have a ton of responsibility and a lot of things that are on your plate, but you won't have the significance or the power to make the decisions. You have to go to somebody else. And that can be really defeating because there's so much responsibility, and the responsibility can give you significance, but you don't have the decision piece. So on our scale of 1 to 10, where would you put yourself on significance? And really feeling like you're important in life and that you're either seen as important or that you're getting that importance. This one typically can be really a strong one for males in particular in your job, feeling significant in the home front. And when that isn't happening, that's when we can see, people, this is kind of the quintessential example of a man having an affair because he doesn't feel significant, or a woman. Actually, the women tend to have affairs more on the love and connection piece, which is the fourth need. And that is that we're looking for love and connection to have in our lives or to give in our lives. A lot of us settle for connection because we're too afraid to really do the risk of love and reach out to people in love. But before we move on to that one, rate yourself on significance. Let's go ahead and put a 7 or 8 or 9. Maybe you're a 2. Wherever you are, there's no judgment on your numbers. There's no judgment. It's just, the idea is just, this is data. This helps us know where are you on the map of your life, of getting your needs met currently, today, this moment. And tomorrow it could be different. You could do this exercise a month from now and it's going to be totally different. So it's a good way to just get a sense of how are these needs getting met. So go ahead and write some things for significance. And then down at love and connection, that's another thing. You'll see older people who are in homes and they really aren't feeling love and connected to other people. And that is something that, we try and get met in other ways. So maybe the staff will do something that brings that group together, or they'll bring pets in, or children, performers, whatever it is to build that connection, even if it's not necessarily a love connection. I do also recommend, if you are alone or if you feel like you're missing out on that love connection, pets are a fantastic way to get that love and connection. And the love and connection piece and your satisfaction level on a scale of 1 to 10, so say it's a 9, you're like, oh man, I got pets, I got family, I got friends, I don't feel alone, I feel really loved and connected. That goes 2 ways. One is that you love other people and they love you. So it's not just about how many people care about me. It's who are you nurturing? Who are you reaching out and serving and being a part of? That is also part of how fulfilling that need can be. Okay, so those are the 4 needs. All right, and then there are 2, and these 2 are really the bonus, but they're what we all really want to strive for. And this is what gives us the sense of fulfillment and meaning in our life. And that is growth, the need for growth, and the need for contribution. Boom, boom. All right, growth and contribution. What a mess. Grab the handout. Anyway, the growth. So growth, there's a ton of research that talks about we are most satisfied when we are growing towards something, when we have a goal we're shooting for, when we've set a date, hey, we're going to be in a marathon or a 5K. I mean, it doesn't even matter, or walk with a dog. And we're going from wherever we are to that experience and we're working towards it. The most satisfaction in life comes when we are growing and working towards something. And it's interesting because one of my clients many years ago was just a really neat fella who had a ton of success, very young, had really set himself apart, had tons of promotions in his job, had set a really good routine for himself, great savings, great financial, spiritual, emotional. I mean, all of it was great. And he was like, gosh, I'm kind of like, why am I not happy? Because things are good, everything's good. And part of it was because he didn't have another thing he wanted to grow towards. He had found a great space. He had grown to that extent in several areas, and he didn't really have the next thing. And so one of the things that he decided through our conversations and through some other discovery process is that he really wanted to figure out how to connect with other groups of people and just observe what other people were experiencing in different ways of living. So every month, he would go to a different volunteer group and just participate in that group and not commit to, I'm going to be in a position in that group, or I'm not going to be, planning or down the road. I'm just going to have 1 month, and then the next month I'm going to go to another group. And he planned 12 months of those and ended up going a whole nother direction in life because of those experiences. Very exciting. And the zest that he felt just completely shifted to giving him a ton of happiness just to have this experience. Now, this also met his need for variety, right? He wasn't getting a ton of variety, but he was also growing because he was stimulating his mind through, I want to know more. I don't really know a lot about these other groups. I want to try a bunch of different things, and just giving himself the opportunity to do that without limits. So put a number down for growth. On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you put your satisfaction in your growth right now? Do you feel like you're doing a new Bible study, or are you learning a new skill? They talk about knowledge, skills, and attitude are the 3 things that really define how we're doing a job or how we're doing something. So those are the 3 areas that I try and focus on of, am I increasing my knowledge? Am I actually putting it to application? That's the skills part. Or am I working on my attitude, my mindset? Those are the 3 things where you can grow. So is there an area where you feel like, gosh, I really want to be good at woodworking, or I've always wanted to play the harmonica? Now's a great time. I mean, and again, having a goal, it doesn't have to be a performance goal, but those are good. Deadlines, those can be very positive in our life. And sometimes when it's outside of us, I know I did a high performance pattern session with somebody recently, and we were going through all their life experiences where they really succeeded high. And it tended to happen when this person would engage in competitions, writing competitions, running competitions, athletic competitions, whatever it was. Their happiest moments were when they had signed up for something that was outside of themselves. And so that's something, sometimes that can be a resource for people. It doesn't have to be a deadline that you set and you're like, gosh, am I really going to negotiate with myself and then just give up or not do it? Sometimes our willpower isn't strong enough. And so we need that external thing to give us a little push. Okay, so you put a number and then some reasons as to what it is that's making you feel like, yeah, I'm really growing, or gosh, I'm really not growing. And, and it's okay to take a break from growth too. I remember when I was done with my graduate school and I had read so many self-help books and so many psychology books, and I was like, I'm done. I'm done with psychology. I don't want to evaluate myself. I'm done for a while. So I just, kind of cut that out. And then I came back to it, and then it was like, yeah, you know what? I'm ready to grow again. I'm ready to try something else. And instead, I actually, now that I think about it, I stopped that area of growth, but I did increase my skills. I started working on my Frisbee throwing and a couple other things. So my painting and drawing. So there we go. So contribution. And then that's the other one that really gives us a ton of fulfillment in life. And where are we contributing? And we can also get overwhelmed, especially if you're in the Christian community or a serving community. We can exhaust ourselves with contribution to the point that other needs aren't getting met. And really, these need to get met so that you can be healthy in a way that you're contributing. So when you're contributing, it could be, somebody helping their grandparent rake the leaves. It doesn't have to be difficult. Somebody helping with the groceries across the street and getting them inside the house. It could also be, something like being a part of a volunteer group, or emergency response, or serving the, homeless. It doesn't always have to be something super constructive, or not constructive, formal. It can be any way that you're contributing to other people. Moms contributing to their kids. That can be exhausting. But if you see it as contributing to the community by raising healthy children, that's a massive contribution. That's a really huge contribution. And we need solid families so they really are contributing to the world in a way that's providing healthy people, healthy little people who become contributing adults, right? So those are the 6 needs. Sorry, it's kind of sloppy, but there it is. And hopefully you took the time to kind of evaluate, where are you and getting those needs met? Are you feeling fulfilled? Does any of this kind of resonate with you as far as, gosh, yeah, there's some things I'd like to grow in? Or contribution, maybe you're doing too much or too little. One thing that I found when I do this exercise and I say, okay, a lot of times we'll end and I'll say, well, now that we've done that, we have more information. What are your thoughts on that? What do you see? And are there some new awarenesses? A lot of times just the G.I. Joe, knowing is half the battle. And I really believe that. And I think that's why I'm such a proponent of sharing information. I feel like sometimes we're hiding all this psychology information. We have all this pop psychology out there instead of like, how can I apply this to my life? And I think knowing where you are in these today is super helpful, in just knowing what's making you happy, what's not making you happy, and how are ways that you can just take a step forward to assessing where you are on your map, where you want to go in life. And the other thing that I want to talk about too is, when you look at this, sometimes I'll go over this and somebody will be like, oh, they have a 5 and a 7 and a 7 and a 9. And we look and we'll be like, okay, well, of these, which one do you feel like you need to give some attention to? And it won't necessarily be the lowest number. Sometimes it'll be, you know what, I'm at a 7 in variety. I really need more variety, rather than certainty. Certainty's at a 5. And that's okay. And then when you want to work on it, rather than saying, okay, how can we take that to a 10? That just, our brain works best when we are only trying to change at 1%. When it doesn't feel like change. So if we can say, how can we take that 7 to an 8 or to a 7.5? We don't need to like spend extravagant amounts of money or do things that are super crazy. What is something that just feels really manageable, that would add a lot of variety and feel good? Maybe it's just, let's turn off the TV tonight and see what happens. Let's open up the cupboard with the games in it. It's got dust inside. Let's just take a look. Or let's go for a walk around the block and see if we want to go farther. There's just so many things that you could do. And one of the fun things I love to do with people is brainstorm about their life and just ask them questions about, well, what are the options? Well, where do you live? Well, what kind of things happen in your neighborhood? Who's in your life? And so if you want to share those, please do. I think that's awesome information. And I think when you share your ideas, it only helps other people go, oh yeah, I would never thought, that going to my neighbor's house and, they've got a treadmill and they're always like, come on over, use my stuff. And I'm like, I could totally do that. And then I get a social thing and I get some exercise. I would never have known that if I hadn't talked to somebody that was an option for them. So I think when we brainstorm together, it's way more helpful than sometimes like me just talking to you. That's probably why I love conversation more than I like just, lecturing. I'm not a lecturer. I'm more of this workshop kind of person. So anyway, so taking your number one step rather than from wherever it is to straight to 10, taking it just one step. And then, I welcome your thoughts, your stories, and I hope that you'll share them. It looks like I've got a couple comments. I'm wondering if I can, let's see. Oh, okay. I'm having somebody who's responding and she's saying, when she did this with me 9 months ago, it was totally different. And so today she's saying, yeah, it's super helpful. She definitely needs to contribute more. And she just signed up for an adult tap class to provide a little variety in her weeks. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Denise. That's really cool. Really cool. So like I said, I welcome your thoughts. Put them in the chat. Shoot me a message, whatever. I'd love to brainstorm. So if you want to go over this together, I'm all for that. And if you made it this far, I'm impressed. I mean, way to play full out in your life and take in the information that's in front of you. I mean, here it is. And do the thought work. You know, when we just take time, just a little bit of time to observe our own thoughts, I think that it can have a profound difference on the decisions that we make. And our life is about all the decisions we make every day, hundreds of little decisions. And if we can just be a little better at those, we'll all be in a better space. So anyway, thank you for coming. Feel free to leave feedback in the comments. Hopefully I'll be doing more of these and offering just you some more information, more interactive stuff. So yeah, thanks for being here.